If I could sit my 20-year-old self down over coffee, probably a venti flat white. I get tall flat whites, but my 20-year-old self was running on pure ambition and caffeine. And so I would tell her, don't waste too much time. Time doubting yourself, time waiting for permission, time trying to be just enough of everything so people won't call you too ambitious, too outspoken, too much. I got laid off. I've talked about it in other videos, and all of those doubts still coming through. But here's the truth. You are too much, and that's exactly why you'll win. And if you're watching this, I'm sorry if you got laid off, but you're probably in the same cycle, shrinking, waiting, second guessing. But let me save you some time. No company is going to be there to save you. At the end of the day, I really want you to start thinking about how you can prevent this at all, what you can control. And I want you to watch to the end, because what I'm about to say, when I wrote it down, it changed things for me. And I think it will change things for you too. I'm very lucky. I've worked very hard in my career, and I'm very proud of the work that I've done. And I'm sure you have too. But your job's not your identity. I remember getting my first big job with the big title, and it sounded so impressive. The salary was decent. And as you know, I don't have my degree, and people kept saying, you should be grateful. And I was like, yeah, I'm so lucky. I made that job a priority. I made it everything, poured everything, and all of my worth really fell on that job. And then one day I realized that jobs are temporary. My value's not temporary. My dad told me once when I was growing up, thanks, Dad, they'll replace you. And it's true. If you stop showing up, they'll replace you. The budget gets cut, they'll replace you. If you don't set boundaries, they will take everything that you give. Now, this layoff, it was expected, but I wasn't lucky to have a seat at the table. They were lucky when they could still afford to have me. And they are not lucky that they had to let me go, right? The moment that a job stops challenging you, if they're not respecting you, if they're not paying you right, then you don't owe them loyalty. You owe that to yourself. And so you need to form an exit plan. I'm starting to talk more in my newsletter about entrepreneurship, but I'll talk more about that later. The other thing I want to say before that is make sure that you stop shrinking to make others comfortable. For years, I've tried to be the right amount of everything, the right amount of ambitious, the right amount of outspoken, the right amount of confident, but not so confident that I'm being a misogynist, and not so intimidating that I'm not attractive to the business. And then I realized, I am a little bit too much. That is why I win. And your confidence is just not arrogance. You're being clear. It's clarity when you finally figured out your strength and your powers, and you can own that. Your presence is not intimidating in those spots. It's magnetic. It's why they hired you. So stop apologizing for that. If people don't like how big you are, how bold you are, and how direct you are, as long as you're not being rude, that's their problem. That's not your problem. And the people who matter will respect you for it. And ones that don't are irrelevant. I also know that the reason I started looking at entrepreneurship, and that's not a typo, instead of entrepreneurship, where you're building something that's yours for yourself. If you're not, you're on borrowed time. Every job that we have already established, you can be replaced. And so it's important that you don't just try to work hard and prove your value to someone who may not be able to see it. Or even if they can see it, it doesn't mean that they're going to be loyal to you. You always think that that's part of the American dream, that you'll be rewarded for your loyalty. But I've seen, and I'm sure you have too, seen smart, dedicated, talented people get laid off overnight. In fact, I've had to lay off people like that overnight. And part of the reason is because I don't own my job. My job owns me. And so I have to be responsible based on my titles, but I have to make sure to take care of myself, just like you. And so I will never let my financial security, my confidence, or my future be in the hands of somebody else's budget or somebody else's determination of what valuable is. So I started building something that's mine. And right now, it kind of just feels like a side hustle. I'm going into this season looking for full time work, but also making sure that I'm doing consulting work, sharing my insights online, and giving my tools away. But by doing that, it feels like it's giving me my power back. And I just feel like you need to do the same, because the only real job security is the one you create. And as you're building things, it helps to lift others up. And so I'm betting on myself and I'm betting on you. And if I could tell my younger self one thing, it would be this: stop waiting and start building. It doesn't have to be perfect. One day you're going to wake up and realize that you spent so many years waiting, looking to others for validation, when your validation of yourself is enough. Waiting for the right moment, waiting for confidence to just magically appear. And some days since the layoff, I'm telling you, it has felt like I've been waiting for the confidence just to come back, but it doesn't work like that. Confidence comes after you start. Clarity comes from taking action. And if you're sitting here thinking, but what if I fail? What if you don't? You won't fail. You'll learn, you'll grow, you'll get better. I'm kind of excited about failing because it means I'm doing something and then I can learn from those lessons. But I know if I don't start and I keep waiting, I'll waste more time than ever imagined. And I just don't feel like I have that much time left. I mean, I just want to get going and live my best life, just like you. So I've been in my uncertainty era for a long time, and I am clear about a couple of things. This message, I'm writing it down to my younger self, and I posted it on LinkedIn. I think it's great. And I would love for you to share what you would tell your younger self. If you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be? Also, I would love it if you could hit subscribe. I'm building this, and who knows, maybe it'll grow. While I'm looking for a job, if you could follow, that would be great, and subscribe. And also, if you could subscribe for my newsletter, because this is just the beginning. I am a tech executive and I'm making a life transition at the age of 50. So I'm going to be sharing that journey. And I would love for you to just stop waiting, start building, subscribe, drop a comment, sign up for the newsletter, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for listening.